I smoothed down my graduation gown for the 100th time, watching my reflection in the hallway mirror while my mother fussed with the decorations in our backyard. This was supposed to be my moment. After 4 grueling years of business school, countless sleepless nights, and maintaining a perfect GPA, I'd finally made it. But something felt off. My name is Gabriella, and I should have known better than to trust my mother with planning my graduation celebration. Sweetheart, come help me with these centerpieces. Mom's voice carried through the open French doors. I took a deep breath and stepped outside into the warm June afternoon. Our backyard had been transformed into something straight out of a wedding magazine. White chairs lined up in perfect rows, flowing fabric draped between trees, and crystal centerpieces catching the sunlight. Mom, I thought we agreed on something casual, I said, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. She waved her hand dismissively. Nonsense, this is a special occasion, and wait until you see what else I have planned. That should have been my first warning. The guests started arriving around 4. My younger sister Vanessa hugged me tight and whispered, "You look amazing, Gabs." Then came the flood of relatives, family friends, and former classmates. Even my ex-boyfriend Jarvis showed up, which wasn't entirely surprising since our families had been close for years. What was surprising was seeing him holding hands with my cousin Kylie. Franklin, our longtime family friend, approached me with a warm smile. "Congratulations, Gabriella. Your father would have been so proud." I swallowed hard at the mention of Dad. "Thank you, Franklin. That means a lot." The afternoon progressed with speeches and toasts. I was just about to cut the elaborate graduation cake when my mother clinked her glass and stood up. "Everyone, I have a very special announcement to make." Her voice rang out across the yard. My stomach dropped. While we're all gathered here to celebrate Gabriella's achievement, I have even more wonderful news to share. The silence that followed was deafening. I watched in slow-motion horror as my mother gestured for Kylie and Jarvis to join her at the front. "I am overjoyed to announce the engagement of our beloved Kylie to Jarvis. They'll be getting married this fall." The crowd erupted in cheers and congratulations. I stood frozen, the cake knife still in my hand, as my cousin, my own flesh and blood, beamed and showed off her engagement ring, the same ring Jarvis and I had looked at together just 6 months ago. "Isn't this wonderful?" my mother gushed, pulling me into an unwanted hug. "Now we have 2 reasons to celebrate." I pulled away, meeting Vanessa's concerned gaze across the yard. "Mom, how could you?" "What do you mean, dear? This is fantastic news." "You knew about them?" My voice cracked. "You knew they were together, and you let him come to my graduation celebration?" "Oh, don't be dramatic," she whispered harshly. "It's been months since you and Jarvis broke up. Besides, Kylie is much better suited for him. She understands the importance of family and tradition." The knife clattered onto the table. Through the blur of tears, I watched Kylie accepting hugs and showing off her ring, my ring, to our relatives. Jarvis couldn't even look me in the eye. "I need some air," I managed to say, turning away from the celebration that had morphed into my own personal nightmare. "Gabriella, don't you dare make a scene," my mother hissed, but I was already walking away. I found myself in Dad's old study, the only place in the house that remained unchanged since his passing. The leather chair still held his impression, and his collection of business books lined the walls. I ran my fingers along their spines, remembering how he used to say, "Success is the best revenge, baby girl." A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. Vanessa slipped in, closing the door behind her. "They're all asking where you went," she said quietly. "Let them ask." I turned to face her, wiping away tears I hadn't realized were falling. "Did you know?" She shook her head. "I found out yesterday. Mom made me promise not to tell you." I laughed bitterly. "Of course she did." What are you going to do? Looking at Dad's desk, where his favorite quote still sat framed. The best revenge is massive success. I felt something shift inside me. The hurt was still there, but now it was crystallizing into something harder, something more purposeful. I'm going to give them exactly what they want, I said, my voice steady. I'll help plan their perfect wedding, and then I'm going to show them all exactly what the daughter they underestimated is capable of. Vanessa's eyes widened. Gabs. Don't worry, I smiled, and for the first time that day, it felt real. I'm not going to cause a scene or ruin anything. I'm just going to make sure that when the dust settles, everyone remembers whose celebration this really should have been. The Monday after my graduation disaster, I threw myself into work at the event planning agency where I'd been interning. Organizing other people's celebrations felt like cosmic irony, but at least it kept my mind occupied. You're here early, Mitchell said, leaning against my cubicle. As the CEO of our startup firm, he had a way of appearing when you least expected him. Everything okay? I looked up from my computer screen, where I'd been obsessively reviewing client portfolios. Just catching up on some work. At 7:30 a.m., he raised an eyebrow. Come on, let's grab coffee. 10 minutes later, we sat in the corner of the local cafe. Mitchell pushed a blueberry muffin toward me. You look like you haven't eaten today. Is this a coffee break or an intervention? I asked, but took the muffin anyway. Consider it a business meeting. He pulled out his tablet. I've been watching your work for the past year, Gabriella. You have something special, a way of turning events into experiences. I think you're ready for more responsibility. I nearly choked on my coffee. What kind of responsibility? How would you feel about heading up our new luxury events division? The offer hung in the air between us. It was exactly the kind of opportunity I'd been working toward, but the timing felt surreal. Before you answer, Mitchell continued, there's more. We're launching a new platform that combines event planning with digital marketing. I need someone who understands both worlds. My phone buzzed. A message from my mother. Family dinner tonight. No excuses. We need to discuss the wedding. I turned my phone face down. Tell me more about this platform. Mitchell's eyes lit up as he explained his vision. By the time we finished our coffee, my mind was racing with possibilities. Back at the office, Vanessa called. Mom's blowing up my phone about dinner tonight. Are you going? Do I have a choice? I sighed, watching Mitchell through the glass walls of his office as he gestured animatedly during a video call. Hey, Van, what would you say if I told you I might have found a way to turn this whole situation around? I'd say be careful. You know how Mom gets when things don't go according to her plan. That's exactly the point. I lowered my voice. She's always controlled everything, our lives, our choices, our celebrations. Maybe it's time someone showed her she can't control our success. Gabs. Vanessa hesitated. Just promise me you won't do anything crazy. Define crazy, I said, but we both knew I was already forming a plan. That evening, I arrived at my mother's house to find Kylie already there, wedding magazines spread across the dining table. She barely looked up when I walked in. Oh, good, you're here, Mom said, emerging from the kitchen. We need to discuss the wedding plans. I told Kylie you'd be happy to help, given your experience with event planning. I set my bag down carefully. Did you ask me first? Don't be difficult, Gabriella. This is about family. Family? I laughed. Is that what we're calling it? Kylie finally looked up. If you don't want to help? No, I'll help. I pulled out my laptop. In fact, I have some ideas already. The venue you're considering? I know the owner, and I have connections with the best vendors in the city. Mom's expression softened. See, I knew you'd come around. But, I added, I have conditions. I do this my way, professionally. This isn't just a favor, it's business. What does that mean? Kylie asked. It means I'll treat this like any other high-profile event. complete creative control, my team, my vendors. I met my mother's gaze. Unless you don't trust my capabilities? The challenge hung in the air. Mom's jaw tightened, but she nodded. Fine. But remember, this needs to be perfect. Trust me, I said, opening my laptop. It will be unforgettable. Later that night, I sat in my apartment, staring at Mitchell's proposal email. The luxury events division would be announced at a major industry conference, coincidentally scheduled for the same weekend as Kylie's wedding. My phone lit up with a text from Mitchell. Thought more about our conversation? The timing's perfect for a big launch. I smiled, thinking about Dad's words about success and revenge. With trembling fingers, I typed my response. I'm in, but I have an idea to make it even bigger. The pieces were falling into place. While my mother planned Kylie's perfect wedding, I would be planning something much bigger, my own redemption story. And this time, no one would be able to steal my spotlight. I closed my laptop and walked to the window, watching the city lights flicker below. For the first time since my graduation day, I felt truly powerful. Let them have their wedding. I was about to show them what real celebration looked like. The flowers have to be peonies, my mother insisted, hovering over my shoulder as I worked on the wedding plans. Pink peonies. Kylie's always dreamed of them. I didn't look up from my laptop. Peonies will be out of season. They'll cost 3 times as much and won't look fresh. Money isn't an issue. Of course it isn't, I muttered, thinking of all the times she'd complained about my college expenses. The doorbell rang, and Mom hurried to answer it. I heard Jarvis's voice in the hallway, and my stomach clenched. 3 weeks had passed since the graduation announcement, but seeing him still felt like a punch to the gut. Gabriella! He appeared in the doorway, Kylie attached to his arm. I didn't know you'd be here. Funny, considering I'm planning your wedding. I kept my voice professional, clinical. Actually, I need to discuss the budget with both of you. Kylie flopped onto the couch. Oh, don't worry about that. Aunt Angela's handling everything. That's not how this works. I closed my laptop. If I'm running this event, I need to meet with you both. Properly, at my office. Your office? Mom scoffed. Surely we can discuss everything here. My office, tomorrow at 2 p.m. I stood up, gathering my things. This is business, remember? We do it professionally. Jarvis shifted uncomfortably. I have a meeting tomorrow. Reschedule it. I met his eyes for the first time. Unless this isn't a priority? The next day, I sat in one of our firm's conference rooms, watching Kylie and Jarvis through the glass walls as they waited in reception. Mitchell passed by, giving me a thumbs up. Show them what you've got, he whispered. I straightened my blazer and opened the door. Come in. Their footsteps faltered as they entered the sleek space. This wasn't my mother's living room. This was my territory. Nice office, Jarvis said, looking around. It's just a conference room. I gestured to the chairs. Let's begin. I pulled up my presentation, watching their faces as I outlined my vision for their wedding. Every detail was meticulously planned, every element carefully chosen to create something undeniably spectacular. This is amazing, Kylie admitted, leaning forward. But some of these ideas seem a bit modern, I suggested. Professional? That's the point. You wanted the best, right? Jarvis cleared his throat. The budget seems high. Quality costs money? I clicked to the next slide. But consider what you're getting. This won't just be a wedding. It'll be the event of the season. Press coverage, social media exposure, everything. Press coverage? Kylie's eyes widened. Mom didn't mention that. Because she doesn't know yet. I smiled. I have connections with several lifestyle magazines. They're always looking for unique wedding features. The bait was set. I could see Kylie practically salivating at the thought of magazine coverage. There's just one thing, I added, pulling out a contract. I need full creative control, no interference from anyone, including my mother. Jarvis frowned. I don't know if Angela will agree to that. Then I walk. I started gathering my papers. I'm sure you can find another planner who'll do whatever Mom says. Wait. Kylie grabbed the contract. We'll sign. Just make it perfect, okay? After they left, Mitchell appeared with 2 cups of coffee. That was impressive, almost scary. I accepted the coffee with a shaky hand. I learned from the best, my mother. Speaking of learning, he sat on the edge of my desk. How's the proposal coming for our launch? Almost ready. I've been thinking. I pulled up another presentation on my laptop. What if we didn't just announce the luxury division? What if we revealed a complete rebranding? New name, new direction, new everything. Mitchell's eyes sparkled. Keep talking. The wedding will have press coverage, right? What better way to showcase our new brand than with a high-profile event? We timed the announcement with the wedding weekend and steal their thunder completely, he finished, grinning. You're either brilliant or crazy. Maybe both. I showed him my initial designs. But imagine the impact. My phone buzzed. Mom again. Kylie says you're changing everything. Call me immediately. I ignored it, focusing on Mitchell's excited comments about the proposal. Let her worry. Let her try to control this. For once, I was 2 steps ahead. You know, Mitchell said, studying my face, revenge looks good on you. I thought about the contract in my desk, about the plans forming in my head, about the expression on my mother's face when she realized she couldn't stop what was coming. It's not revenge, I said, but we both knew I was lying. It's just business. The venue's confirmed, I announced, walking into Mitchell's office, and you'll never guess who else booked it for the same weekend. Mitchell looked up from his computer. Don't tell me. The International Business Innovation Summit. I couldn't hide my smile. Apparently, they're hosting their annual conference there. 300 of the most influential people in our industry, all under the same roof as Kylie's wedding. That's not a coincidence, is it? Let's just say I know the event coordinator. I perched on the edge of his desk. And I may have mentioned our rebranding announcement would make an excellent addition to their schedule. Mitchell leaned back, shaking his head in admiration. You're dangerous, you know that? I learned from the best. I handed him the venue contract. By the way, Mom's been calling nonstop about the flower arrangements. Apparently, pink peonies are now non-negotiable. Speaking of your mother, he hesitated. Are you sure about this? Once we announce the rebranding during the wedding weekend, there's no going back. Before I could answer, Vanessa burst into the office. Gabs, we have a problem. What's wrong? Jarvis is downstairs. He wants to talk to you. My stomach dropped. About what? He wouldn't say, but he looked serious. I found Jarvis pacing in the lobby, looking uncomfortable in his expensive suit. He stopped when he saw me. Can we talk? Privately? I led him to a small meeting room, aware of curious eyes following us. What's this about? The wedding plans. He ran a hand through his hair. Look, Gabriella, I know what you're doing. Planning an amazing wedding? That's literally my job. No, I mean... He lowered his voice. The press coverage, the venue choice, all of it. You're up to something. I met his gaze steadily. Funny how you still think you know me. I do know you. We dated for 2 years, remember? And then you started dating my cousin behind my back. I kept my voice level. So maybe you don't know me as well as you think. It wasn't like that. He sighed. Look, Kylie's excited about everything you're planning, but Angela's worried, and honestly, so am I. Why? Because for once you can't control the narrative? Because this feels like payback. I laughed, the sound sharp in the quiet room. Payback would be me telling everyone how you and Kylie got together while we were still dating. Payback would be revealing how you looked at engagement rings with me 3 weeks before you started seeing her. His face paled. Gabriella? But I'm not doing any of that. I stood up. I'm delivering exactly what you asked for, a perfect high-profile wedding. If that makes you uncomfortable, maybe you should ask yourself why. Back in my office, I found Mitchell and Vanessa deep in conversation. Everything okay? Vanessa asked. Perfect. I pulled up our presentation files. Mitchell, I need to show you something. I've been working on the rebranding announcement. Now? He glanced at his watch. Trust me. I clicked through to a new slide. What if we didn't just announce the company changes? What if we revealed a whole new venture? The screen showed sleek designs for a digital platform, one that would revolutionize how luxury events were planned and marketed. I've been developing this on the side, I explained. A way to combine high-end event planning with digital innovation, something that would put us light years ahead of the competition. Mitchell's eyes widened as he scrolled through the details. This is incredible. When did you have time to do all this? Let's just say I haven't been sleeping much lately. Vanessa touched my arm. Gabs, Mom called again. She wants to know why you won't return her messages about the flowers. Because every time I talk to her, she tries to take over. I turned back to Mitchell. What do you think? Are we ready to shake things up? He studied me for a moment. You really want to launch this at the wedding? Not at the wedding. During the wedding weekend, while everyone's focused on the perfect couple, we'll be announcing the future of luxury events. I pulled up another slide, and guess who's already expressed interest in being our first major client? The logo of a prestigious hotel chain filled the screen. How did you manage that? Mitchell asked. Remember that charity gala I organized last month? Their CEO was there. We got talking about digital innovation in the hospitality industry. I shrugged. Sometimes the best revenge is just being better at the game. Vanessa hugged me suddenly. Dad would be so proud. Yeah, I said, looking at the presentation that would change everything. I think he would be. Mitchell stood up, decision made. Let's do it. But Gabriella. He caught my eye. Make it spectacular. Oh, I smiled, thinking of my mother's face when she realized what was coming. I intend to. The florist backed out, Mom announced, bursting into my apartment unannounced. This is a disaster. I didn't look up from my laptop. No, they didn't. I switched vendors. Without consulting me? I found someone better, someone who can actually deliver fresh peonies in season. I closed my computer. How did you get in here? Vanessa gave me her spare key. Mom started pacing. Why aren't you taking this seriously? This wedding needs to be perfect. Like my graduation celebration was perfect? The words hung in the air between us. Mom stopped pacing, her expression softening slightly. Is that what this is about? Sweetheart, you need to move on. I have moved on. I stood up, gathering the wedding files spread across my coffee table. I'm treating this exactly like any other high-profile event. Professional, elegant, and perfectly executed. Then why won't you let me help? Because this isn't about you, Mom. Or have you forgotten whose wedding it actually is? The doorbell rang, saving us from further argument. I opened it to find Franklin, our family friend, standing there with a concerned look. I heard voices, he said. Bad time? Perfect timing, I replied, letting him in. Mom was just leaving. Actually, Franklin said, I came to talk to both of you. I ran into Jarvis at the club yesterday. Mom perked up. Oh, what did he say? He's worried. Franklin looked at me. Says you're planning something bigger than just a wedding. I laughed. Of course I am. I'm planning the social event of the season. Isn't that what everyone wanted? Gabriella, Franklin's voice was gentle. I knew your father for 30 years. You're exactly like him. Brilliant, determined, and sometimes too clever for your own good. Don't bring Robert into this, Mom snapped. Why not? I challenged. Dad taught me everything I know about business, about seizing opportunities, about turning setbacks into stepping stones. Your father would want peace in this family, Mom said. No, he'd want me to succeed, which is exactly what I'm doing. My phone buzzed. A message from Mitchell. Big news, come to the office ASAP. I have to go, I said, gathering my things. Work emergency. More important than wedding plans? Mom asked. Everything's under control. The new florist will contact you tomorrow, and yes, you'll get your precious peonies. At the office, I found Mitchell practically bouncing with excitement. The Innovation Summit confirmed it, he announced as soon as I walked in. They want you to give the keynote speech. Friday morning, main stage, right before the wedding ceremony. My heart skipped. They usually only invite industry veterans for keynotes. They've seen our proposal. They know what we're launching is revolutionary. He grinned. This is it, Gabriella, our moment. Does anyone else know? Just the core team, and… He hesitated. I may have leaked it to that lifestyle magazine that's covering the wedding. I sank into a chair. Mom's gonna lose it. Good thing you're not doing this for her approval. Later that evening, Vanessa came over with wine and takeout. Kylie's been texting me nonstop, she said, curling up on my couch. She's worried you're overshadowing her big day. I'm just doing my job. I poured more wine. Both jobs, actually. You know what's funny? Vanessa twirled her glass. Jarvis keeps asking about you, about what you're really planning. Let him worry. He mentioned that ring shopping trip, said he feels guilty. He should. I stood up, walking to the window. But this isn't about him anymore, or Kylie, or even Mom. Then what is it about? Before I could answer, my phone lit up with a text from the magazine editor. Love the angle for our feature. Rising star disrupts industry while planning cousin's dream wedding. Interview tomorrow? Vanessa read over my shoulder. Oh my God. Still think I'm being too harsh? I showed her the keynote speaker announcement. No, she said slowly. I think you're being exactly who Dad always knew you could be. She hugged me. Just promise me one thing. What? When everything goes down at the wedding, make sure I have a front row seat. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in weeks. Deal. Looking out at the city lights, I thought about Dad's old saying about success being the best revenge. But this was more than revenge now. This was about showing everyone, Mom, Jarvis, Kylie, the whole world, exactly what I was capable of. And the best part? They'd never see it coming. The wedding rehearsal dinner was in full swing, but I was hiding in the venue's back office, reviewing my keynote speech one last time. Tomorrow would change everything. There you are, Mitchell's voice came from the doorway. Your mother's looking for you. When isn't she? I closed my laptop. How's it going out there? Kylie's crying because the rehearsal centerpieces aren't the exact shade of pink she wanted, and Jarvis looks like he's questioning all his life choices. He sat down beside me. So, business as usual. Perfect. I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Mom, 2 from the magazine editor, and 1 from the summit organizer. Mitchell pulled something from his jacket pocket. I got you something. For tomorrow. It was a small velvet box. Inside lay a delicate gold necklace with a single pearl pendant. Mitchell? It was my grandmother's, he said. She wore it when she opened her first business, said it gave her courage. He cleared his throat. I thought you might want to wear it for the keynote. Before I could respond, Vanessa burst in. Code red. Mom's on the warpath. She found the magazine article. My stomach dropped. The feature wasn't supposed to release until tomorrow morning. Which one? I asked. All of them. They're all online now. Rising star disrupts industry. Innovation meets tradition. The wedding planner who changed the game. Vanessa was practically hyperventilating. They're calling you the next big thing in luxury events. Mitchell squeezed my hand. Showtime. I found Mom in the main hall, phone in hand, face flushed with anger. What is this? She thrust the phone at me, showing one of the articles. You're using Kylie's wedding for publicity? No, Mom, I'm doing my job. Both jobs. Both? What are you talking about? The keynote speech tomorrow? The business launch? Did you really think I was just planning weddings this whole time? Her face paled. What have you done? Created something amazing. I stood straighter. Something Dad would have been proud of. Don't you dare bring your father into this. This is Kylie's weekend. No, Mom. This is my weekend, too. And for once, you can't control the narrative. Jarvis appeared behind her. Everything okay? The guests are asking about the rehearsal dinner schedule. Show them, I told Mitchell, who pulled up the presentation on his tablet. They watched in silence as we walked them through our plans. The digital platform, the luxury division, the partnerships we'd secured. With each slide, Mom's expression shifted from anger to something else. Recognition? Respect? I couldn't tell. This is what you've been working on? Jarvis asked quietly. Among other things. I met his gaze. Surprised? Before he could answer, Kylie rushed over. The magazine people are here. They want photos of the rehearsal dinner. She stopped short, seeing our faces. What's going on? Nothing, Mom said quickly. Everything's fine. Actually, I smiled, everything's perfect. Shall we give them something to photograph? The rest of the evening passed in a blur of camera flashes and carefully orchestrated moments. I played my part perfectly. The supportive cousin, the brilliant event planner, the rising star. Every time Mom tried to intervene, I was one step ahead. Later, as the guests were leaving, Franklin pulled me aside. Your father used to say you'd outshine us all one day, he said. I don't think even he imagined this. Is that a compliment? He smiled. Just be careful, Gabriella. Success is sweet, but family? Family? I laughed softly. Family is supposed to support you, not sabotage you. Sometimes people surprise you. He nodded toward Mom, who was watching us from across the room. Sometimes they just need to be shown what they've been missing. Back in my office later that night, I found Mitchell waiting with 2 glasses of champagne. A toast, he said, handing me one. To tomorrow. To revenge. To success. He touched his glass to mine. Which, in your case, might be the same thing. I fingered the pearl necklace he'd given me. Thank you for everything. Just promise me one thing? His eyes met mine. When you bring the house down tomorrow, save a little spotlight for the rest of us. Deal. I looked at my keynote speech one last time, though something tells me there's going to be plenty of spotlight to go around. As I drove home, my phone lit up with a text from Vanessa. Mom's been crying, thinks she finally realizes what she's done. I thought about Mom's face when she saw the articles, about Jarvis's quiet surprise, about Kylie's oblivious excitement over the press coverage. Tomorrow, they'd all understand exactly what they'd underestimated. And I'd be ready, wearing Mitchell's grandmother's pearl, standing in the spotlight that should have been mine all along. Let them cry. Let them worry. Let them wonder what else I was capable of. Tomorrow couldn't come soon enough. The morning of the wedding dawned bright and clear. I stood at the podium in the hotel's main conference hall, adjusting my microphone as hundreds of industry leaders filed in. Mitchell's grandmother's pearl felt warm against my skin. 5 minutes, the summit coordinator whispered. My phone buzzed. Mom, where are you? Kylie needs help with her dress. I switched it off. The bride could wait. This moment was mine. Ladies and gentlemen, The coordinator announced, "Please welcome our keynote speaker, Gabriella Richards, CEO of the newly launched Luminous Events platform." The applause washed over me as I took center stage. In the front row, Mitchell gave me a subtle thumbs up. "3 years ago," I began, "I was told I didn't understand the importance of tradition, that I didn't know how to create meaningful celebrations." I paused, letting my gaze sweep the audience. "Today, I'm here to show you exactly what I understand about making moments matter." The lights dimmed as my presentation began. The platform demonstration was flawless. Every feature, every innovation exactly as we'd planned. The audience leaned forward in their seats, phones recording, tablets taking notes. "This isn't just about planning events," I continued. "It's about revolutionizing how we experience life's biggest moments." Movement at the back of the hall caught my eye. Mom had slipped in, still in her mother of the bride preparation outfit. Her expression was unreadable. "And speaking of big moments," I smiled, "we're launching today with our first flagship event, a luxury wedding that perfectly demonstrates our platform's capabilities." The screens behind me filled with live feeds from Kylie's wedding preparations. The flowers, the decorations, the arriving guests, all captured in real time through our system. Gasps rippled through the audience. This wasn't just a presentation anymore, it was a live showcase of our technology. "As you can see," I gestured to the screens, "every detail is monitored, coordinated, and enhanced through our platform. From guest experiences to vendor management, we've created a seamless integration of traditional celebration and digital innovation." The questions came rapid fire after my presentation. Industry leaders crowded around, cards in hand, eager to discuss partnerships. In the chaos, Mom made her way to the stage. "Gabriella," she said quietly, "I had no idea." "That's the point, Mom. You never did. The wedding starts in an hour." "I know. Everything's ready. The platform is handling it all." She touched my arm. "Your father would have loved this." Before I could respond, Mitchell appeared with the magazine team. "Sorry to interrupt, but we need Gabriella for the official launch photos." The next hour was a whirlwind. Photos, interviews, contract discussions, all while monitoring the wedding preparations through my tablet. The platform worked perfectly, coordinating every detail just as I'd designed it to. I slipped into the wedding venue just as guests were being seated. Vanessa found me immediately. "You missed all the drama," she whispered. "Kylie's been freaking out because you weren't there, but everything's so perfect she can't actually complain." That was the plan. "And Mom?" She watched my keynote. Vanessa squeezed my hand. "I saw. She cried during your speech." The wedding music started. I took my place, watching as Kylie walked down the aisle. She was beautiful, I had to admit. The venue was stunning, the flowers perfect, every detail exactly as promised. But the whispers among the guests weren't about the bride. "Did you see the news? The platform launch." "She's brilliant, going to change everything." Jarvis stood at the altar, but his eyes kept drifting to me. He knew. They all knew now. During the reception, Franklin approached my table. "Quite a day you've engineered." "Just doing my job." "Both jobs," he smiled. "You know, your mother showed me the magazine articles. All 6 of them. She's been collecting them." I watched Mom across the room, proudly showing something on her phone to other guests. My keynote speech, I realized. She was showing them my speech. Mitchell joined us, champagne in hand. "The investors are going crazy. We've already had 3 major offers." "Let them wait," I said. "Tonight, we celebrate." As if on cue, the platform notification system pinged. Every guest's phone lit up simultaneously with our official launch announcement. The room buzzed with excitement as people read about the revolutionary system that had created this very event. Kylie and Jarvis had their perfect wedding. But everyone was talking about something else entirely. I touched the pearl at my neck, thinking of Mitchell's grandmother and her courage, of Dad and his belief in me, of all the moments that had led to this one. To success, Mitchell whispered, clinking his glass against mine. To karma, I replied softly, watching my mother finally look at me with pride in her eyes. The Sunday morning after the wedding, I sat in Dad's old study, surrounded by newspaper clippings and magazine articles. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since the launch. Investors, journalists, potential clients all wanting a piece of what we'd created. A soft knock interrupted my thoughts. Mom stood in the doorway, holding 2 cups of coffee. Peace offering? She stepped in, placing 1 cup on Dad's desk. Thanks. I gathered the clippings, but she stopped me. Leave them. I want to see. She picked up the nearest article. Innovation meets tradition. How one woman revolutionized the event industry. He would have framed this one, right next to his favorite quote. I nodded toward the framed words on the wall. About success being the best revenge? She smiled sadly. I deserve that, you know. All of it. The public overshadowing, the silent treatment, the perfect revenge. It wasn't just revenge, Mom. I know. That's what makes it brilliant. She sat down. I spent so many years trying to control everything, make everything perfect. I couldn't see I was pushing away the most perfect thing I had. The doorbell rang before I could respond. Vanessa's voice carried up the stairs, followed by Mitchell's. Up here, Mom called. They appeared in the doorway, Mitchell carrying his tablet, Vanessa practically bouncing with excitement. You need to see this, Mitchell said, pulling up a video. The summit highlight reel just dropped. We watched as clips from my keynote played, interspersed with shots from the wedding. The final sequence showed me on stage, wearing Mitchell's grandmother's pearl, announcing our platform launch while the wedding unfolded seamlessly in the background. It's gone viral, Vanessa announced. Even Kylie shared it. Speaking of Kylie, Mom said, she called this morning. She and Jarvis are postponing their honeymoon. Why? Apparently, Jarvis has some business opportunities to discuss with you first. Mitchell laughed. Let me guess. He suddenly realizes his ex-girlfriend is a business genius and wants in. Too late, I said, showing them the contracts I'd signed that morning. We've already partnered with the top 3 event management firms in the country. And the international offers? Mitchell asked, being reviewed by our new legal team. Mom touched one of the magazine covers. I keep thinking about your graduation day, how I thought I was doing the right thing, pushing you toward what I thought was best. Mom, no, let me finish. I was wrong, so wrong. And watching you yesterday, seeing what you've built, what you've become. She wiped her eyes. I've never been more proud. Vanessa hugged her. Group hug moment? Actually, Mitchell cleared his throat. I have something else first. He pulled out a small box, similar to the one that had held the pearl necklace. I was going to wait, but inside was a key. The office next to mine, he explained. Well, technically, it's bigger than mine, fitting for the new CEO. CEO? Mom and Vanessa exclaimed simultaneously. Joint CEO, Mitchell corrected. We're partners now, officially. If you want it. I touched the pearl at my neck, thinking of his grandmother and her courage, of Dad and his belief in success, of all the moments that had led here. Partners, I agreed, taking the key. Well, Mom stood up, straightening her shoulders. This calls for celebration, a proper one this time. No pink peonies, I warned. No hijacking, she promised. Just family celebrating family. As they headed downstairs to plan, Mitchell lingered. You know, he said, when you first told me your revenge plan, I thought you were crazy. And now? Now I think you're brilliant and a little scary and, he stepped closer, completely amazing. The kiss was soft, unexpected, and somehow perfectly timed. A throat cleared. Franklin stood in the doorway, grinning. Bad timing? Perfect timing, I said. We're celebrating. I know. Your mother's already called the caterers. He walked to Dad's desk, running his hand along the polished wood. Robert always said success wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about proving yourself right. I looked around the study, at the articles proving my success, at Mitchell who believed in me, at Dad's quote still guiding my way. Well, Mitchell held out his hand. Ready to go prove yourself right again? Downstairs, I could hear Mom and Vanessa laughing, making plans, being family, real family this time. No manipulation, no control, just love and support and pride. Actually, I smiled, taking his hand, I think I already have. The pearl at my neck caught the sunlight, throwing patterns on the wall next to Dad's quote. Success, revenge, love, family. In the end, they'd all merged into something better than I'd planned, something real, something mine. And this was just the beginning.